Okay, so it has been quite a night. It's been a very, very interesting and great night. Now, earlier, I actually uploaded the vlog. I was rendering it, and while I was rendering it, I decided to sit back and read the beginning of Tokyo Ghoul. If you're unaware of what I'm talking about, Tokyo Ghoul, Chapter 1, the beginning of the tragedy, was redrawn by Ishida-sensei. And it was redrawn, and it was finally released just recently, and I finally sat down to read it tonight. And I gotta be honest, to celebrate the occasion, I decided to have a few and all that. And this video, I don't know if I'm even gonna probably upload this video. I'm just gonna be straight up. I probably highly doubt I'm gonna upload this video. But I just, wanted to kind of celebrate the new redrawn version of Tokyo Ghoul. Because not many mangaka get to do something like that. And especially since Tokyo Ghoul is literally one of my favorite series to talk about right now. It's just a special occasion. And you know what? A toast. A toast for Ishida-sensei for all these years he's been writing Tokyo Ghoul, and a toast for him continuing to write quality content, and a toast to him once again for going back and showcasing how much he's improved as an artist from the beginning of his journey. I gotta say, Tokyo Ghoul, as a series, it's been a fun ride. It's been an absolutely fun ride. And just to know that I got to read the chapter and see how much Ishida has improved, it makes me happy. And so, just let's, sit down and talk about it. I'm going to cast aside my reviewer mentality. I'm just going to throw that aside. This is just me, I guess, drunk Chibi, I guess that's the way you can call it. I've drunk and had a little bit too many, but still, I just want to just have a nice, good conversation about the redrawn chapter of Tokyo Ghoul. So, pretty much, the chapter. Overall, there is a lot of differences compared to the original chapter. One of the biggest differences, obviously, is the art. So, I want to dive into that first thing. The art style, great improvement. A huge improvement compared to how Ishida-sensei was at the start of the series. I mean, I've talked about this in the past, how Ishida, he's improved with his art style. I mean, you really see how much he's improved if you go back to the beginning of Tokyo Ghoul, and then you see what Tokyo Ghoul really looks like. You just see complete differences. Like, the difference between the art is almost completely stunning. It looks so beautiful now compared to what it was in the past. I mean, I'll be honest, when Tokyo Ghoul first started, like, when I was getting into the series, reading the manga and stuff, I wasn't the biggest fan of the art. I mean, some of the times when I was reading it, the art just didn't look that good. I will be honest. I will be straight up honest. Now, maybe it's because, I'm a little bit drunk and, that's why I'm saying stuff like this. But, I mean, overall, though, I felt like the art of Tokyo Ghoul, when the first, 20 or so chapters, first 30 chapters, it was okay. I could read it and all that. But the art was nothing impressive. But then over time, you see how Ishida finally got into the style and was able to start, writing and drawing the way he wanted, and you saw that improvement over time. And the biggest things about this chapter is that you get to see how much Ishida-sensei has grown as a mangaka, not in just the terms of art, but in the terms of the way he lays out his story in the chapters. Because, let's talk about the panel work, okay? One of the big things about manga, when you're reading manga and stuff like that, is the panels. It depends on how the panels are drawn. Like, normal manga, let me just open up the freaking page. I mean, it's a lot easier if I just show you. This is the original first chapter of Tokyo Ghoul. You can instantly see, if you've already seen the redrawn chapter, you can already see how different the art style looks. The panels look like a traditional manga. That's exactly how the panels look. So, just seeing it seems like a standard manga. Like, you open up a manga, you're reading the standard. The panels just look like a traditional manga. Now, let me go get my Tokyo Ghoul re-volume, and I'll show you the difference. Give me just a second. Oh, shit. Okay, volume 7. Here we go. Okay. Forgive me. Okay. Anyways. Now, as I showed you with the panels and all that, the paneling work that Ishida did, let's just show, a quick example of how much he has improved, to the extent of some of these great panels. So, here is, one of the reasons of how you see how much Ishida-sensei has grown while drawing this series. Look at the panel work of Tokyo Ghoul in this. This is Tokyo Ghoul Re Volume 7. This is like one of the latest volumes besides the newest one that just recently released. But you can see how the panel work is very different from a traditional manga. Let me like compare it once again just to show you the discrepancies between it. Like, you know, just how different Tokyo Ghoul is from, you know, the start to the latest stuff. So once again, here is the original manga of Tokyo, like the first chapter, how it used to look. And then this is Tokyo Ghoul Re. Look how different it is in the style, the way it's drawn, the way Ishida has improved with the panels and stuff like that, with the despair, the way the characters show their emotions through the dialogue bubbles. You see just a big difference in the way he draws now. And that's shown in this redrawn chapter. You get to see panel work like this. You get to see beautiful panel work that Ishida Sensei has been doing in Tokyo Ghoul Re at the start of Tokyo Ghoul Part 1. And I love the way Ishida displayed the story in the first redrawn chapter. Just the story overall, it meshed and flowed so much better in my opinion. And I mean, truthfully speaking, I loved a lot of the angles and the different expressions and the way the characters are drawn compared to the original. I loved the Rize stuff. Oh my god. The Rize stuff in the redrawn chapter. Big fan of her design in the redrawn chapter. Now, don't get me wrong. I love the original Rize look in Tokyo Ghoul Part 1. But her redrawn design, she looks like a drop-dead gorgeous woman. I mean, she did in, you know, the beginning of the series. But I mean, she literally looks like a freaking gorgeous woman. Like, holy crap. And used to, when you were reading the series, she looked like a nerdy type ghoul and all that, or a nerdy type character, and she didn't really seem to be like anything beautiful, like 10 out of 10, but seeing her in the redrawn chapter, you're like, holy shit, just how gorgeous she looks. Rize literally looks beautiful, and you can see now why Kaneki was just so drawn to her and why he liked the way she looked. But it's not just that, though. I mean, there was a lot of different things, like I said, with the dialogue bubbles, to the way the story was presented, just the way Ishida wrote the chapter, it was just so much more aesthetically pleasing. I loved looking at it. And, see, that's one of the big things when it comes to manga. One of the things many tend to overlook is how it meshes when you go from panel to panel. Like, when you're reading a manga, once again, I'm going to pop this up. When you're reading a manga, you usually go from panel to panel and down and all that, and you just read it. But something about how Ishida has changed his style, and he makes the panels just more dynamic, the way it meshes together, it just has more life to it. Hopefully you understand what I'm getting at. Hopefully I'm not too drunk and you don't understand what I'm getting at. Hopefully not. But still, the thing is just that Ishida, the improvement overall is just way better than he was in the past. So getting off of that, getting off of the paneling to the dialogue, the way the story is presented, what type of new stuff did we get in this chapter? So I haven't really, as you could see, since it was my first time reading the chapter, it's just me glancing over the chapter once or twice. My overall impressions of the chapter, there was some new stuff that wasn't even in the first chapter, especially when it came to the Hide stuff. Oh, Hide. Oh my. The Hide stuff, like, I need to take another drink just for the shit Hide dropped on us in this chapter, like, holy shit. Okay, so, Hide, this boy, throwing some, a lot of questions on the table. I mean, I've made theory videos, I've talked about it in the past in many of my reviews and videos of Tokyo Ghoul, that there is most likely a chance Hide is alive. He probably has a huge connection to the story. He's just way too important. He's way too important of a character and has too many mysteries wrapped up around him to just not be important or still alive. There's just too much information on him and so much mystery that we're still questioning to this day, like what the hell is about his past or, you know, his connection to Kaneki. I mean, there's just a lot of questions. And one of the biggest things and theories I've talked about in the past, there's multiple theories that many discuss. You have the Washi theory to the Clown theory to Hide's lying. He might be like some form of, you know, important family member. There's a possibility he could be a ghoul. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities. But in the chapter, like the, you know, the redrawn chapter, Hide was implying that Kaneki was around a ghoul. He needs to kind of take note that there is a ghoul around him. And most likely he was implying Rize that was next to him, or Toka. But the way Hide was acting, the way his face looked, it was something so sinister. You're like, this man knows something. Like, Hide straight up knows something. This man knows way too much, and he's always seemed to know everything that's going on. He knows a lot, and he always lets on that he knows something is going on, but he doesn't reveal everything. And, I mean, if you were starting Tokyo Ghoul and you weren't used to the symbolism, to the way Ishida writes his series, or, you know, the way he draws his characters and makes them have certain hidden expressions, or certain character traits, like, for instance, you know, hand on your chin to where you're lying, usually you wouldn't detect that. I mean, if you're getting into Tokyo Ghoul for the first time you're reading the chapter, you wouldn't detect something like that. But if you're to get into far into, like, you know, Tokyo Ghoul and read it, you'll most likely understand these certain character traits. And once again, this is a chapter meant for the fans. This is kind of like, in a way, I feel like Ishida's trying to let us know that there's a lot more to Hide than meets the eye. Now, we already knew this. We already kind of interpreted this. But it's like Ishida's pretty much saying, yes, you all are correct. There is more to Hide than you think. And here you go. There definitely is. And I mean, one of the biggest things about the redrawn chapter when it comes to, like, the color page and all that is Hide has white and black hair. Now, that's a big thing when it comes to the color page. See, Hide never had that hair color. In the beginning of Tokyo Ghoul, Hide didn't have white and blackish hair. And I talked about this on Twitter a while back when it was first released with, you know, the way the hair looked. But most likely the hair style that Hide dons in the color page of this redrawn chapter, most likely it's emphasizing and symbolizing Sasaki Heisei. Now, as I've discussed, okay, I discussed this in reviews a while back, and if you're not up to date with Tokyo Ghoul Re, I don't know why you would actually be watching this video, but anyways, if you're up to date with Tokyo Ghoul Re, you remember the scene where Kaneki, he wanted to take his life. He didn't have a reason to live. He was suicidal. And finally, he broke down and he entered this inner state of himself, and he met Hide and he started talking to him, and Hide kind of gave him a reason to live. He's like, you need to live. And that was, like, you know, the entire, like, symbolism there between that. For instance, Hide and then Kaneki. Kaneki was twisting Hide's words and then interpreting it in his own way, his own selfish way, and then finally he found a reason that he needs to live. He needs to protect himself before he can protect others. And with the color page of this redrawn chapter, he has similar hair to Heisei Sasaki. I feel like Ishida's trying to symbolize that the hair means that his connection to Kaneki and how much he means. For instance, how he gave Kaneki the will to live on, continued on living. So, very good job, Ishida, with the symbolism, but I mean, it makes you question, like, what is Ishida trying to imply here? I mean, he makes Hide throughout the entirety of this chapter very shady, very mysterious, like he knows way too much, and then also the way he draws the color page with the white and black hair, it just raises a lot of questions. Now, getting off of that, okay? Let's talk about, like, the other content of this. Like, for one of the biggest things about this chapter is the scene to where the beams fall down. Now, if you're up to date with Tokyo Ghoul Re, which you should be if you're watching this video, you know who pushed those beams down. Those steel beams that land on Rize and then actually save Kaneki's life, but actually sends his entire life into tragedy to where he becomes a ghoul, or half ghoul, and then he's forced to do many evil things that he'd never wanted to do. As you know, it's Furuta, a clown, or a fake clown, which was just disguising as a clown, and he started all sorts of shit, and we don't really know the true motive of what Furuta wants to do, but we do know who pushed down the beams. And the way Rize was looking at was like trying to say something to this person, it was more obvious that someone pushed down the beams, besides of how it was in the beginning of the series. Because if you go back to the first chapter of Tokyo Ghoul, you know, part 1, if you think about it hard enough, you do realize that most likely someone pushed down the beams. But at the time, though, it didn't feel like it was emphasized, like the beams were pushed down. It felt like they fell down. And with the way the redrawn chapter was done, it pretty much emphasized that someone definitely pushed those beams down. The way it focused on and the way they just fell down like that, you knew it had to be someone incredibly strong. So, and when it came to, I guess, the reveal or whatever, of, like, you know, what could happen in the near future, it's definitely a chapter that kind of gives it away. It lets you know that someone definitely tried to, you know, hurt Rize in some way to where it could save Kaneki, and so it was definitely like a setup. I mean, it was just incredibly easy to see, and definitely a complete difference compared to how the first chapter was done in Tokyo Ghoul Part 1. So that's a very big key difference right there, besides the Hide stuff. So, overall, I feel like the Tokyo Ghoul Part 1 redrawn chapter, it's a very, very good chapter. And I mean, as a Tokyo Ghoul fan, not just as a reviewer, but as a Tokyo Ghoul fan, I feel like it is a very pleasant experience. It's definitely not something I would tell someone to read, like the first thing to read of Tokyo Ghoul, because, I mean, it has a lot of spoilers in it. It gives away a lot of content. I mean, especially with Hide's expression. It's, like, very fucking shady and mysterious, but also because of the art style, too. I mean, not even just the story content, but, I mean, if you were to start with this first chapter, and you were to read it, and you were going to the actual chapter 2, you'll look at the art and be like, what the fuck? This art looks so, you know, weird or different. So, I most likely would never tell anyone to start with this redrawn chapter if they want to get into Tokyo Ghoul. I'll probably tell them to read it after they're done with part 1 Tokyo Ghoul, just to see the differences in how much Ishida has improved as an artist. But yeah, I do truly enjoy the redrawn chapter. Well done, Ishida. Congratulations and a toast once again to your great improvement you've done over the years. Hopefully you continue to draw Tokyo Ghoul, and hopefully it continues to become an even greater series as time goes on. And you know what, Tokyo Ghoul? I love it. I love this series. It is one of my favorite manga series of all time. It's given me so much, so much. And I've gotten to connect with so many of you Chibis thanks to this series. Got to discuss and talk about certain things, theorize and stuff. It's just such a wonderful series. Tokyo Ghoul is a great series. And I'm glad I get to experience this all with you guys. I'm glad I get to enjoy such a good series with everybody. So, I want to end it here. I'm a little bit drunk, probably getting a little bit sentimental, but you all have a very, very wonderful day or night wherever you live. My thoughts overall couldn't have been any better. I mean, I truly love all the things that was showcased in this redrawn version. I would like to see if there's anything I could add on to this. I'd like to see Ishida one day, maybe not right now, because I know the man has a very busy schedule. I mean, this man's killing himself. I mean, he draws so much, and he has such good quality art and stuff. This man, I don't even know how he manages to do it. Like, the way he draws constantly, he doesn't have any breaks, and he continues to have this quality content with the art and story at that. It just amazes me. So, if there's anything, when he's finally done with this series, like, let's say Tokyo Ghoul, it wraps up in maybe a year or two from now, or 3 years, 4 years, I don't know. It depends on how long Tokyo Ghoul, you know, lasts. I'd like to see Ishida redo Part 1 Tokyo Ghoul. Like, you know, redraw it or something. Or, you know, release, like, special edition volumes of Tokyo Ghoul that are redrawn and better looking, just like this redrawn chapter 1 is. I would love to see something like that. I mean, I would love to see, you know, Ishida Sensei improve, showcase how much his art has changed, and also add more symbolism into the chapters that he never could when he first started. Because I bet there's a lot of things Ishida wishes he could change when he started drawing Tokyo Ghoul, especially when it came to, like, some of the art style decisions. I wonder if he would change anything if he would ever decide to go back and redraw Part 1 Tokyo Ghoul. It's something I'd like to see. Hopefully he does do it, and hopefully, you know, he continues to stay in good health and continue to give us quality chapters. So, yeah, you all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.